But there are few more things you need to avoid or do while presentation. Do and don't. Don't keep looking at your watch. It shows that you're bored of the presentation. It shows disrespect to the audience. It shows that you have a problem with time management. Avoid that completely. Don't play with a pen or a pencil. Again, it shows disrespect to the people. Next, don't stare at a certain person only. Don't keep looking at a certain person. This is so funny. This is so unprofessional. It's disrespect to the audience as well. You have to look at every person and respect every person in the hall. They came to see you. They came to listen to you, to learn from you. So you have to appreciate that. Use proper voice tone. It shouldn't be so loud, and it shouldn't be so slow and low. Hello, my name is this. And no one can hear you out. And if you speak loud, it becomes like you're shouting at them. No, you have to be an average person, in between. Next, be careful with your body language. We use hands all the time. Don't use this with the audience. Don't point at them. This is unprofessional. You can't do it. It's so humiliating in some cultures. You have to know that it's a diversity. Many people from many different countries are attending. You have to put this into consideration. You have to watch your facial expressions. You need to smile a bit to the audience, to ease them, to welcome them. Don't talk about yourself a lot. Just an introduction. Hello, my name is this. My education is this. The presentation will be about this. But don't keep telling them, I did that. In that year, I did this. I did that. They didn't come to listen to you. Just simply give them your CV. They will know who you are and what education you have. So I avoid this as well. Don't lean on the wall. Don't do this at all. We're not in a cafeteria. You're in front of an audience. Respect them. Be careful when you discuss certain topics which are so sensitive, such as age, religion, politics, nationality, gender. It's very sensitive in a place. From a place to another, people will think this is so humiliating. It might be good in your country, but it might not be good in my country. So you have to be careful with that. Don't turn your back to the audience while presenting. This is completely unprofessional. No one does that. So be careful. There are some standard words and phrases that most people use when doing the presentation. There are certain words they can start with in the introduction, and some words during the presentation, and others at the end of the presentation. Let's look at the first one. In the introduction, greetings. Hello, my name is this. Today I will be discussing this topic. Today I will be talking about this topic. Today's topic is about this. Use any term that you like, that you feel comfortable with. But these are the general terms that most people use when they introduce a topic. During the discussion, during the presentation. Oh, the next slide is, let's look at this. There are several types of this. In this graph, we can see this. Any type that you think is appropriate for you. The next point is, let's move to the next part. The next slide is about, there are plenty of words that you can use. The next one, conclusion, to summarize what we have discussed. Thank you for your attention. I will be glad to answer your questions. General notes. I discussed this before, just to emphasize on it. If you don't know the answer of a question, don't panic. Don't be embarrassed. No one knows everything. Again, simply say, I'm afraid I'm not the right person to answer. Sorry, I don't know the answer for it. Simple, simple, simple. It's a very good question. However, I'm not the right person to answer. And you can move it to the audience. Anyone knows? Maybe someone else knows the answer. At the end of this video, you will find two different scenes. The first one for a bad presentation, and the next one for a good presentation. Please study these two scenes and avoid the first one and work on with the second one.
Hello everyone, welcome to Public Speaking. Today's first presenter is Ranjit, and I would ask everyone to give him their full attention. Chantal, could you dim the lights, please?
The British imposed a lot of unpopular taxes on the American colonists and didn't let them elect representatives to the British government. In retaliation, the Americans started to boycott British goods. In 1773, Americans in Massachusetts dumped a shipload of British tea into Boston Harbor. This became known as the Boston Tea Party. As punishment, the British imposed laws known as the Intolerable Acts, including the Quartering Act, which made Americans let British soldiers live in their homes. Some of the American colonies created a Declaration of Rights and Grievances, which they sent to Britain, but the British just sent soldiers to the colonies to put down any rebellion. This led to the first battles of the Revolution at Lexington and Concord.
Thank you, Ranjit. I know it's very hard to give a presentation in front of the entire class. Now, would anyone like to offer Ranjit constructive feedback about his presentation? Any tips for what he might do differently next time? For example, were you all able to hear what Ranjit was saying?
Not really. He needs to speak louder and face the audience.
Yes. Great suggestion. Anyone else?
He was reading from his paper, so it didn't feel like he was really talking to us, you know?
Exactly. It's important when you're speaking to look up every sentence or two and make eye contact with someone in the audience. Anything else that Ranjit could do to appear more relaxed and feel more confident?
He could smile more.
Yes, smiling makes us feel relaxed. Oh, and make sure your phone is off before you speak next time. I do have one more suggestion. To connect with listeners, it's a great idea to use a personal story or experience as an example. Can you try that next time?
I think so, yes. Next week, my presentation will be about the causes and effects of stress.
We look forward to hearing it. Ranjit is first up again today, and I look forward to his new presentation. Jorge, could you dim the lights, please?
Good morning. Today I'd like to talk about the causes and effects of stress and how to cope with stress. Stress has many causes, including work or school, life events, changes, or unrealistic expectations of yourself. Some effects of stress include headaches, trouble sleeping, depression, or lack of concentration. I know how hard it can be to deal with stress. Last year, I started working after school to save for college, but I didn't have time to do homework and my grades went down. I had trouble sleeping, I only ate junk food, and I stopped hanging out with my friends. Fortunately, I was able to talk with a school counselor to manage my stress. She suggested that I reduce my hours at my job, eat healthy foods, and get some exercise. So I literally started walking home from school and bringing my lunch. I also asked my teachers for extra help. Now, I feel better. It's important to recognize when you're stressed and to ask for help. Thank you.
To summarize what we have done so far, we talked about good presentation and bad presentation, how you actually prepare yourself for an effective presentation. We talked about your personality. We talked about PowerPoint tips. We talked about the supportive tools that you have to use during your presentation. We talked about the things that you have to do and shouldn't do during their presentation. And then we talked about the standard phrases and words that can be used during the presentation. I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you.